Last video of the day. Let's crack on. People, deluded. I'm back again. Do me a favor, smash the like button. We called for signings and we're making them happen. By now, you already know Arsenal are moving ahead with signing Christian Nørgaard. Let me know your thoughts on him as a Thomas Partey replacement, him as an individual player, and what this means, people, because it seems like Kepa's over the line, Zubimendi's over the line. This is progressing quickly. I know no two deals are the same, and I know it's very peculiar where the situations of a Sesko, a Gyökeres, a Rodrygo, all the other guys we've been linked with, yeah. And again, I've never completed a transfer in my life. They tend to drag out. But I just want to ask you, lot, and I come in peace. This is a safe space. I just want to ask you, lot, how comes this thing seems to again, obviously the wheels must have been in motion, before it became public knowledge, but we've woken up. Romano, Ornstein, Romano always posts his updates. David Ornstein's updated the same article twice. The fees agreed, apparently medicals and all these things. Why can't we move quick like this for more transfers? Again, I know not everything can be like this. Just food for thought. Fabrizio Romano said Arsenal and Christian Nørgaard have reached an agreement on personal terms as the player wants to move. Brentford informed of the player's decision as club-to-club talks continue to get deal done over 10 million euros after opening bid. What do we make of that, people? Fair enough, 31 years of age, 10 million euros, probably some bonuses. Plugs a gap in the side. Is Premier League proven? Floor raiser with the greatest of respect. Floor raiser, not necessarily a ceiling raiser. I do think Brentford and Arsenal are very different, but there's a lot of the way the clubs are run very similar, and that's why I can understand bringing in David Wright individually and the added carrot of being at Brentford and Buemo, which we're not going to get, but we was linked with him. There's defo someone else. Oh yeah, Christian Nørgaard. He is their captain, so he does have leadership. For me, we're kind of in win now mode. So if this is a short-term experience, squad depth not breaking the bank, we're allowed to maneuver in other directions, provided you go and get me the top-level striker and everything else. It's fine. And he's a joy from set pieces. You do have to say sorry to Gabby Martinelli, though. And it is what it is in that regard. So not the best, not the worst, respectfully. As you can see here, people, again, agreement done club to club after 11 million euros proposal sent today. Personal terms also agreed. He's set for a medical. He's been authorized by Brentford to travel, people. And yeah, he'll be joining us, people. See how quickly we're doing this. So yeah, we're doing this. Ornstein is only right. Arsenal are close to agreeing a deal for Christian Nørgaard, the Brentford midfielder. We've made a bid worth 11 million euros, which equates to 9.3 million for the 31-year-old. This says, while an agreement has not yet been reached, there's confidence it will be struck. Arsenal have not reached an agreement with Thomas Partey. We all know him and Jorginho will be departing. Zubimendi and Nørgaard will come in. He has been their captain. He has worked with Thomas Frank for club and country, or clubs and country. He was linked with Spurs. He's coming to Arsenal. So obviously, we can run the shameless agenda. So, yeah, big him up on that. Big up him for his service at Brentford. Helped them get promoted. Played 192 appearances. Scored 13 goals. I think, he's up there for interceptions and all of that in the Premier League. I think there was 4 games that he didn't play last season in which they lost. I'm going to do an in-depth thing, but just from browsing, maybe injuries could be a cause for concern. But yeah, apparently Arteta wanted this, people. So we'll have to see. Again, Sammy Motbell, I'd like to read all of them because everyone's got their own little flavour. Arsenal have agreed a deal with Brentford to sign midfielder Christian Nørgaard. We're collecting all the guards, in it. Sources have indicated the Gunners have been discussing a fee worth in the region of an initial 10 million with a possible 5 million in performance-related add-ons. Now, I know what he means to Brentford. And they're going to, they have to replace their manager. They might lose Visa. They've lost Buemo. They've lost their captain. They've got Keith Andrews, I believe, former Blackburn Rovers midfielder, now set piece coach or head coach. It's a transitional period. But if you disregard all of that, 15 million for a 31-year-old with 2 years left on their deal, not that they necessarily care. It's decent, if I'm honest with you. The move for Nørgaard comes just a week before Thomas Partey's Arsenal contract expires. So we've moved at speed. Partey's been in talks over a new deal to stay at the Emirates, but no agreement has been reached. We all know Partey's probably going to go. But what if we get Zubimendi, Nørgaard and Partey? I'm not sure. BBC Sport understands Sevilla midfielder Lucien Agorme is also featured predominantly on Arsenal's list of potential targets to replace Partey. Obviously, I'm all for signing young players. I just feel we're losing too much experience with Jorginho. Fair enough, he was on the peripheral things and he was clearly a leader more off the field than on it and everything in between. Partey as well. So I understand bringing in Nørgaard. But I'm not going to, if you asked Arsenal fans this 24 hours ago, many of them probably ain't got an in-depth opinion. There's some that are going to rewrite history. I just think it's a calm signing. It plugs a gap. Not the best player, not the worst. Definitely not one to cry about. I understand the frustration where you're seeing the stars rolling in at other clubs. You know there's pressure for us to deliver the Premier League trophy. There's pressure for the first 6 to 10 games. There's pressure around the manager and the players. You want to see us have a summer that we should have had last summer. So I understand this ain't the one where we're like, but we need depth. So it's cool for me. Crucially, it is understood Mikel Arteta identified Nørgaard as a midfielder he wanted because he preferred a Premier League ready player. And obviously, Zubamendi, I think he's going to be a hit. But you let Partey and Jorginho go. You're betting a lot on Zubamendi there, if I'm honest. And we would have been like people. Club-to-club discussions over the Denmark international have accelerated in the last 24 hours, and the deal is now in place. The 31-year-old who joined Brentford from Fiorentina in 2019. Ain't that 2018, 2019 when the Cronkies took full ownership? Will now undergo a medical before completing his move. Norgaard wasn't a long-term Arsenal target, but entered the club's radar as they sought experience in midfield ahead of Partey's potential departure. Norgaard became a key player for the Bees and captain under Thomas Frank, who left to become Spurs manager. As we know, we're close to the signing of Zubamendi, who we saw rumours that he was in London, dotting I's and crossing T's for his own move. So we've got two midfielders out, 2 in. Kepa is expected to complete his deal. We're probably going to see this all announced in July. And obviously there's Nørgaard, Berta, Gyökeres, Sesko, Rodrygo, Joe Bloggs. If you can't get them strikers and wingers, get it done for me. At least 5 signings are ready. Sorry, at least 5 signings are to be made in the summer, which Arsenal insiders say will definitely be a packed one in terms of incomings. A striker is front and center of the club's priority list, while a new defender is also part of the list. I'm here for that. Mail Sport understands Mikel Arteta wants a striker in before their preseason tour of Singapore and Hong Kong, which they fly out on July the 19th. Both Benjamin Sesko and Victor Gyökeres have been strongly linked, but it's understood that Sesko is the priority. Sources close to the club suggest Sporting's keenness to offload Gyökeres has become clearer by the day, arguably weakened their hand internally. There were already reservations over the player. Apparently, they're actually moving closer to finding his replacement. I think they're in talks with a striker. Can't act like I know the guy, but you get the point. Sources say RB Leipzig are driving a hard bargain for Benjamin Sesko because they know all too well how desperate Arsenal are for a striker. It's for this reason and Arsenal's desire to not spend over their budget for a striker that there is a delay. Berta is said to have other striking options too, which he's in negotiations over. If a deal for Sesko or Gyökeres was not to materialize, the prospect of a surprise name entering the frame is a possibility. Let me know your thoughts on that. Smash the like button and subscribe. Now, such is life. We've seen Gyökeres' antics on social media. Apparently, Benjamin Sesko has followed Arsenal. Now, he could just like us. He could just be following us for the sake of it. Or this could be adding fuel to the fire, people. It's understood Sesko is the priority at striker. Sources close to the club suggest Sporting's keenness to offload Gyökeres has become clearer. We've seen that already. And apparently, there's internal reservations over the 27-year-old because of the standard, long story short, of Portugal's league. He did score 39 league goals. I'm not saying he's going to score all of that. I'm not saying there's not going to be question marks. I'm happy with either or. I like you lot know I'm a big fan of Sesko. I've been gassing up his team for years, but I would prefer Gyökeres at this moment in time. I don't care because both could sign, both could flop, but I would prefer Gyökeres because ironically a bit different, but it would follow the Norgaard thing. It would tell me this is a right now thing. It's not that I want to deviate away from finding stars of tomorrow and that, but everything's tomorrow. It's all about gearing to win trophies tomorrow, what players can become tomorrow, and that's true. You got to do that today. Because in the last 3 years, for whatever reason, no negatives, no positives, we finished second. We have not got over the line. How do we do that? I don't know, but it's clearly got to be something different to what we've been doing already, right? Fair play. Let me know your thoughts. DiMarzio, no clue on his credibility. I'm sure he said Man City would beat us in the race for Declan Rice. Arsenal will sign Victor Gyökeres because he wants to join Arsenal. Other clubs have tried to enter the race, but he'll go to Arsenal. He was their first target from the start, and now they have to find an agreement with Sporting. I mean, the only way to do this is to get both, but for me, it depends. 1 minute, Gyökeres is the guy, and we've given up on Sesko. Then it's Sesko, and then it's everything in between. Fair enough to the journalists. They've absolutely milked it during the off-season. I've mentioned Kepa, but Kepa, here we go. To join Arsenal as the backup to David Raya. We've activated the 5 million release clause. And like Zubamendi and Nørgaard, he'd be expected to, complete stuff. Martinelli's been subject to speculation with Bayern Munich. Apparently, he is happy at Arsenal and the club expect him to stay. If an attractive buyer came in for Martinelli at an appropriate price, especially one which enabled Arsenal to land some of their top targets, then Arsenal's position could shift. Romano has said Arsenal love Rodrygo. They consider him as a fantastic player, a dream target as a winger. Also because they feel Williams is impossible to reach this summer or ever, unless Barca want to sell him. Apparently, Bilbao taking Barcelona to court over something over there. I need to read up on it. Rodrygo remains a strong name in the list at Arsenal for sure. If there is a deal to be done for Rodrygo, Arsenal will be keen to do it. His future at Real Madrid is far from clear, and a move if Arsenal encouraged to make an offer would not be expected to happen until much later in the window. That is from the Telegraph, Sam Dean. Rodrygo is on the exit ramp, reports out of Spain are claiming at Real Madrid, as confirmed by his entourage. He's probing a move to the Premier League, where teams such as Arsenal are interested in the player. Real Madrid will ask for around 90 million euros. So what's that? 78, 79, early to mid 80s. Is it value for money? I don't know. Romano's also followed up and said Arsenal deal for Rodrygo hasn't progressed. Interest is still there. I'm told that the situation has not changed as of today. So the first point, Arsenal love Rodrygo. When I say Arsenal, it's about the management. It's about the coach, Mikel Arteta. Such is the theme of half the guys we signed. They consider Rodrygo as a fantastic player, dream target as a winger, also because they believe Nico Williams is impossible to reach. So far for Rodrygo, he remains a strong name for sure in the list at Arsenal. But at the moment, as I've told you, the only way to make the Rodrygo deal happen and to start thinking about the financials, the salary, the transfer fee, and all the rest is Rodrygo himself. The only way is if Rodrygo goes to Xabi Alonso and tells him at some point now, in 1 week, in 2 weeks, I want to leave the club. So is Rodrygo deciding. If he decides to go to Arsenal, the door of this deal to negotiate could be open. But in this moment, Rodrygo still didn't tell anything to Xabi Alonso. So after leaving the club, about leaving Real Madrid will not inform Arsenal on any fixed price until they don't have any communication from Rodrygo, whatever that means. But okay. And you know, Nicholas Hover will love Norgaard. I mean, bloody hell, don't bring us back to this when we crumbled, man, if I'm honest. So yeah, man, we're getting a move on.